All right, so I am going to make some very basic stuffed pasta, and we'll do a ravioli. I think that's a nice, easy one to start with. Maybe show you a cannoli, not a cannoli, a cannellini, but I don't know if I have something to bake that in. Oh, look, we'll start with this one. So I have here, this is a simple filling. It is ricotta, a whole milk ricotta with some chopped up spinach that I sauteed and then really wrung out in a towel to make dry with some salt and some pepper, and that's kind of it. So what I'm going to do is I have some pasta sheets that I rolled out earlier. And I'm gonna line up, I'm only gonna make about 6 or 8 of these. I'll make sure they kind of fit on top of each other. Yeah, they do. And I have 2 cutters, just quick little pastry cutters in a little circle. So what I will do, if we were making tons of these, I would be using a pastry bag, but again, assuming that not everybody's going to have a pastry bag. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. What I will do is put a little dollop. You don't want it to be too much because if you overfill it, they can explode. Even if you underfill it, they can explode. But you want to be safe. So I'm just going to put in a little dollop here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Delicious. And then I'm going to take some water and go around each of the dollops. This is going to help the 2 sides stick together. A little bit there. I'm going to take my top piece, let's move this out of the way. Here's where the precision comes in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to push down around, not using the sharp end, I'm using the dull end to just kind of push as much air out and make that little center part kind of pop up as much as I can. And then I will take my cutter and actually do the cutting. There we go. I don't want to mess it up yet. Trying to get it as centered as possible. I hear my water boiling. There we go. There we go. I'm going to lift it out. And we have our nice little raviolis. Whoop. I would make you disagree. There we go. Let me do that again. My water is boiling, so I can turn that down. We're actually not going to use boiling water because if the water is boiling too violently, you can rip them apart. So you want to bring it to a boil and then turn it down to a nice little simmer. So again, kind of measure out. I might even be able to get 4 out of this one. No. 3. Get another little dollop in the center. I don't know what it is. I just find this to be the most relaxing thing I do in the kitchen. Some people might find it fussy or say, what's the point? But when you've done it, it's like my time alone in the kitchen. That didn't lie so flatly, but that's okay. It's my dinner. Let's push some of that air out. Go. Cut one. That's totally off-centered. Probably could have given them a little bit more space there. You see how this is really becomes an art when you get good at it. I am still at the craftsman stage. There we we go. I have 6 nice looking little raviolis. I'll set them over to the water. All right, so I have some water. It's come to a boil. I'm gonna turn that down a little bit. And in the back pan, I've got a little of our basic tomato sauce. And what I'm gonna do, is I'm going to drop in raviolis. I don't want it to be at a full heavy boil because if the raviolis kind of fly all over the place, I could have gotten a little bit more air out of 1 or 2 of those. Because the air parts, they stick up. It's better one of the batches than the other. But what we can do, I'll turn down my tomato sauce. Just kind of flip them around so they stink. And these cook relatively quickly compared to if you're used to working with kind of frozen raviolis. And that's again just a very, very basic little stuffing of, there we go, got a little bit of the air out there. Stuffing of the cheese and the spinach. You could do, meat, you could do pumpkin sage, different kinds of meats. You can do shellfish ravioli, lobster ravioli would be delicious. I got just way too much air in 2 of those, but I will push them out. Those are going to cook for 4 or 5 minutes. And then I'll show you how we finish them up. All right, so after about 4 minutes, you can see how they're all sort of floating at the top. I'm going to give them another couple seconds before I add them over to my tomato sauce. I want them to kind of finish in the tomato sauce, so take it over, put it here, turn off the sauce. I know there's some people, different ways of doing pasta. Some people like to put the pasta in the plate and then you put some sauce on top. I like it more when the pasta is kind of all coated in the sauce and then put a little more sauce on top. So I'm gonna flip them over and I'm gonna give them the last minute or so to cook in the sauce so they kind of absorb some of the tomato. That's a little bit too high a temperature. And one of them opened up there, that's all right. I'm really brave. I don't want to splash the camera though, since it is my phone. But you could try the little flip. But I don't want my camera to get messed up. And I'm gonna let them sit in there for a minute or so just to kind of absorb some of the sauce, kind of finish cooking before I actually plate it. All right, so my pasta has been sitting in the water, in the sauce. So I'm going to take, let's do 1, 2, 3, I made 6, but I'm only going to put 5 on a plate. Odd numbers tend to look a little nicer on a plate. And I'm going to put some of the sauce right on top. That smells so nice. I'll eat that one later. And a little bit of cheese. Nice little sprig of some some basil. Rinse. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. That is some nice looking homemade ravioli. That doesn't come out of the freezer. So she turns 14 tomorrow. So that's our ravioli. We're going to do that same process next week with our pasta, but we're going to finish up our semester with some lasagna bolognese. Have an awesome weekend.